Hello. Hello, people of the universe and the internet. This is Mission Accomplished, and it is number with, all the
18, I think.
numbers. What?
18?
Well, maybe. We know Ryan lies a lot, so it could be 18. Could be anything else. And I'm Justin, I'm your host, and this is our show. And we're going to just be me and Ryan today because we've had some cool guests on lately, and they've been really great. And we're going to take a break from that this week and return with somebody next week. But some fun stuff has happened, and I want to go over things that I like just because I feel like it. And this is the internet, and you can do whatever you want on it. And that's a little revolution we've had in the past 30 years. Ryan, how you doing?
Pretty good.
What's new with you, man?
I just got back from Orlando.
Again? You go there often.
Yes.
What's the deal with that?
Disney World?
Disney World. I guess so. Yeah. All right. Did you go again this time?
No. I
Oh.
was meeting up with some friends.
Oh, okay. It's a long drive, man. So, did you see the Overwatch Championship? That's what we're gonna cover.
I did not.
Oh man, it was pretty cool. So I guess it was the first $1 million prize for each player on each team. I think. Huge event in Barclays of all places in New York City. So many thousands. They filled the whole fucking stadium, which is incredible for a gaming event. Like that's pretty fucking serious to fill New York City. They had a concert beforehand with DJ Khaled and shit like that. And it came down in the finals to Philadelphia Fusion versus London Spitfire. And London came in on top. 3-0 win out of best of five. Pretty impressive. Great matches. But, and I've competed it in video games before at a high level. And it's weird. Sometimes you go to a tournament and you get really good matches and it elongates out and stuff like that. Gets really exciting. But sometimes you go and one team is just fucking dominant. Like they'll just take everyone out and everything will be 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. And some, with gaming becoming more popular, like they've gotten contracts with ESPN now. This is going to be a yearly thing. It'll probably keep getting bigger and bigger. More games will come out. Like we've officially hit the big time with professional gaming. Like you can pretty much make money no matter what if you're involved now, whether you're a caster on Twitch or a host for the shows themselves or a player. Like there is infinite possibilities now, which is great.
Well, it's interesting because there's a lot of controversy
Yeah.
with
Wait,
patching
you're
the
coming in.
game.
Oh, patching the game.
Yeah. So like what happens is they patch the game and people get mad
Right.
because like it screws over the other players.
Yeah, it's weird because like the game developer now, they're like the NBA or the NHL
Yeah, I was about to
corporate.
say it's like it's really it's just like if the NFL were to change the rules halfway through
Right.
the season.
Or even just every other season, just change the rules. Because that's really how it works. Because these games get updated constantly. Like just recently, they released a new hero on Overwatch, the Hamster Ball, which is awesome. And they released a few before the end of the season. They released. Hello?
Yeah, you're here.
Hello?
Yeah,
Oh,
you're still
weird.
alive.
My headphones went out. Okay. But yeah, they change the games frequently. They're constantly tuning things and making some players better, like not some players, but some things better than others, nerfing things, increasing the power of some attacks and items and stuff like that. And balance becomes a huge issue. So you have players practicing for months on end under a certain rule set, and then there's a slight tweak to it here and there throughout the seasons. It's definitely a weird thing, but it doesn't seem to have that big of an effect because all these tournaments keep growing in popularity. Now there's all these different conventions for the different game developers themselves. Like
People
there's
like the
huge
flashiness.
fan bases for some of the major studios out of there, out producing AAA games. Like Bethesda's become so big with Fallout and all them and stuff. Blizzard obviously is out of control right now. Oh man, Ryan, for a couple of days now, we're coming out with the new World of Warcraft expansion, and they did the pre-patch in that and totally fucked up the entire game. It's pretty crazy. They changed like everything. They did a stat squish. Now this is a 14-year-old game that they're about to update, and the new expansion comes out, Battle for Azeroth. It is every 2 years or so they'll come out with an expansion, and pretty much change the entire game. And this expansion, from what I'm like a pretty hardcore player, from what I'm seeing in this expansion, is it's going to be heavily PvP based. There's this thing called war mode now where you go into the game and instead of being a passive player in the realm, you can choose whether or not to be passive or aggressive towards the other faction, and you can be attacked whenever you're doing your daily stuff. It's going to change back the dynamic of the game to what it was more like when it started, where many people who were serious about the game played on what's called PvP servers, which is player versus player. Over time, they nerfed that whole system, and PvP was put on the back burner for a long time in the game. Now it's going to be coming back in full force. And then, in addition to releasing Battle of Azeroth, they're going to release a classic version of the game where the server will just be the original version with no expansion packs, which there's been 9 or 8 now. It's fucking nuts.
And I guess like now with this new expansion, they're kind of like not releasing new races or races, but still releasing new races.
Yeah, exactly. So they did like a prestige race now where you have to work like crazy hard just to get access to them. Like huge time gates involved and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of odd.
Yeah. Still a great game though. Still a lot of people, and a lot of people are excited about it. I think the player base is level off. It hit its peak, years back when Wrath of the Lich King came out. It's gone down a little bit ever since. It went down a lot in the expansion just previous to this one, and now with this newer one, Legion, that we've been playing for the past 2 years, there's been a huge increase in popularity, and the announcement of Battle for Azeroth and the beta and all the news coming out about it seems very, very promising. So once that hits August 14th, that's what I'm going to be doing most of the time. It's going to be a huge fucking time waster, I'll tell you that. And yeah. So, talk about some movies that I watched recently. I illegally downloaded the new Jurassic World movie. It's pretty good. Somebody suggested for me to see it in theaters. I'm kind of glad I didn't because, all right, it's a Jurassic Park or Jurassic World, I guess, movie. They're fucking fun. Like, it's awesome seeing dinosaurs. Chris Pratt's great. Like, the raptor scenes are good. Like, the animation we have now for the dinosaurs is top notch. There's so much Easter eggs in it, and it like nods to the first movie and stuff. And I mean, realistically, it's a fucking AAA movie. They put a lot of work. People put a lot of work into it. It showed. However, though, I'm glad I didn't see it in a theater. There wasn't as much really good, enticing action as I thought. There was only maybe one scene where I felt fear, like I felt fear in the originals, where the Raptor kitchen scene and stuff. They really only recreated that for about 30 seconds in this one scene at the end where one of the, spoiler alert, there were genetically modified dinosaur in there, and a guy goes into the cage in an empty room thinking that the dinosaur's asleep, and it attacks him. That's it. That was the only part that was slightly suspenseful. The rest of it was pretty predictable. You could pretty much see what was going on this entire movie. It was still fun to watch, but nothing too special. I thought it was all right. And I watched another sci-fi movie that I'm sure nobody's ever even heard of because I just randomly find it on my pirating sites, and I always look in the sci-fi section. There's this movie called Radius, and it starts out with a guy who gets into a car accident, right? And then anytime he walks near something that's living, like he has a radius around him of death. Like he just radiates death. So if you walk within his radius, your eyes go white and you're dead. Or if animals or birds fly in to his radius, then they just fall down dead. Like, okay, weird concept. Now, the caveat to this little story is that there's a girl involved. And whenever the girl is near this guy, the radius is turned off. So they have to stay together while a bunch of people are chasing them, thinking that they're murdering people, but they're not. So the cops try to separate the two, and then all the cops. It's weird movie, weird concept, cool science fiction idea, nice little twist at the end. You know, sometimes it's just nice to pick a random movie out and just watch it just to see what's real, what like the B-rated movies are out there. Because that's really what this is. It wasn't anything too spectacular, but the concept is cool, and that's what I like. That's what's really cool about sci-fi are the ideas behind it. And those ideas, you know, oftentimes fuel things like the invention of cell phones or 3D printing. And then, Vice has this new weird show that I found called Mr. Tachyon. Very strange show. It's like a pseudo news show where the characters are fake, but the interviews are real. So like it follows this guy, Mr. Tachyon, who apparently was born invisible. And he wears a black suit with a black helmet like Daft Punk so that people can see him. And then he goes around the world and he talks to people who have weird things going on in their life, like a sixth sense that they can kind of prove exists and stuff like that.
Daft Punk, and then goes around the world.
And the show is actually really well done. I really like it because what they did was they fictionalized characters to kind of real life explain phenomenon that aren't paranormal, say, or like totally dismissible, but have real world implications off the bat. So like, you know, playing probability and trying to guess things by astral projection, or it's weird. The show is very strange. I highly recommend it just because it's interesting, and the way it's done in the Vice style is very, you know, modern and straight to the point, and it covers a lot of subjects that I think are pretty cool.
Vice style, like Vice, the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I found it. I wonder because it's on Viceland. Like Viceland produced it, I guess, because there's episodes of it. But I'm sure you can find it on YouTube, no problem. Dude, Sacha Baron Cohen, have you seen the new Who Is America show?
I've seen some stuff about it.
Can we pull up a trailer of that? Because I've been watching the show, and it is like laugh out loud when you're alone funny. And then there are and it fucks with you too. It's so awkward to sit through some of the scenes in the show, but then there are other scenes that are just like infinitely hilarious. This guy, like, and I want to know more about what exactly it is he's doing, because he's getting interviews with people while dressed up in, like, the opening interviews with Bernie Sanders, and he's like dressed up as some weirdo in a fucking fat person scooter cart. Are you looking for it?
What is it called?
Oh, it's called Who Is America?
I was gonna say This Is America is that's the song by, what's it called?
Oh yeah, Donald Glover. He made an awesome statement about that, actually. I guess he was being interviewed by a reporter, like, oh, what does this mean? Like, is there a political... He's like, that was a mistake. That was supposed to be a private movie or a private video for me and my friends, and it accidentally got put up on YouTube. Like, I didn't even mean it. I'm really embarrassed because my shirt's off and you can see my nipples. I was like, that's the best response ever.
I think that's bullshit.
Oh, probably, but still, it's great that that's how he answered the reporter.
Here you go.
Barely. I know him a little bit. I know him the most. He dresses up as like multiple different characters in this one rather than just sticking to one. And each segment of the show that's split up into threes usually. Oh, Dick Cheney. Anyway, so, and he, like, there's this one scene where one of the characters he plays is a guy who just got out of prison. So he goes to this really famous art gallery in Los Angeles, like this lady who gets a lot of press all the time. And he gets an interview with this lady to talk about his art that he made in prison. And all the art he made in prison, he used his own shit. And he drew it on cardboard. And then
oh yeah, he's playing a character, right?
Right. Like, he plays these weird characters, but it doesn't seem like the people he interviews knows that they're characters. That's what's so fucking weird about it. Like, they must know, but they're still answering questions and like kind of going along with the interview. It's great. Like, fucking great. Awesome. Can you pull up another trailer? Because I want to talk about how awesome this is. And it's the new Godzilla trailer for 2019, I think.
Yeah, give me a second.
All right, cool. I have been a fan of Godzilla since I was a little kid. And there are some fandoms that have died over the years. You know, like things like Battlestar Galactica is pretty much dead. Swamp Thing's dead. Dick Tracy's dead. Like, there are just things that don't make it into the modern canon. But I'm glad that Godzilla is still around and still a thing, and he's still the king of monsters. Because I remember seeing the original one where Puff Daddy did the soundtrack to it, and what's his face was in it from Jurassic Park, I think. That movie was great. Or no,
Which
not
one?
Jurassic Park.
The doctor or the paleontologist doctor?
I
or
forget.
The old white man.
Yeah. No. I'm wrong. Not the guy from Jurassic Park. The guy from Ferris Bueller.
Really?
What's his name? I forget.
I don't
Anyway,
know.
he was in that. In that one from the '90s where the Godzilla had like looked more like a lizard, but it was pretty good, and I loved that one, and I liked the old ones too. And I always had the toys. But anyway, here's a trailer for the new one.
Godzilla trailer.
Oh yeah, the girl from Stranger Things is in this. You know it's gonna be good.
The mass extinction we feared has already begun, and we are the cause. We are the
Anyone else
infection.
notice that the world is ending in movies every day? I feel like the movie makers are scared. Watch out! She got in. I think she made it.
But like all
Legendary
living
produces some
organisms,
great
the Earth
shit.
unleashed a fever to fight this infection.
This is gonna be a big movie.
Its original and
That's-
rightful rulers, the Titans.
This is how you
For
craft
thousands
a
of
good
years,
trailer. Like, for
These
real.
creatures have remained in hiding around the world. And unless all the Titans are found, our planet will perish.
I like
so
that
will
there's
we.
like a solid story to this. Like an explanation of what the hell is
only
going on with these
guarantee
gigantic monsters,
that
other than
life
nuclear
will carry on.
blasts. Yes. Like the music, nailed it. Next summer, fuck yeah. Mothra's in it.
Claire de Lune, I think,
What?
or Arabesque. It's by the guy who did Claire de Lune,
Oh,
the composer.
Rodan. Ah!
My bad.
That's all right. No.
Oh, well, that was the end of the trailer. I was
okay.
trying to look up the song, but I opened up a
That's
tab
all right.
on that one.
It's a good song anyway. And then the last thing I want to go over today was another documentary that I watched called The China Hustle.
Claude Debussy.
What?
That's who it is. Claude Debussy.
Oh, okay. Just the way they crafted that trailer. You know, that music really fit with all the monsters and stuff. Like, that was a good one. Like that really made me want to see the movie. Sometimes they really fuck up the trailers, you know? But anyway, I watched another documentary, two actually. One called The China Hustle and the other called All the Queen's Horses. And both of them essentially investigate fraud on massive levels in the economy. All the Queen's Horses, I believe, is on Netflix right now. That's actually about a small town in the Midwest and a lady who ends up embezzling over $50 million from her little town because she's the sole controller of the treasury, and somehow she gets away with doing this for 20 years, and eventually they catch her and prosecute her and stuff, and then sell all her horses that she bought with all the money. But the other documentary, The China Hustle, that is great because it's kind of like a documentary about the 2008 financial crisis, only before 2008 happened, because it essentially covers major investment firms and their strategies for investing into Chinese infrastructure, industry, and agriculture. And essentially what's happening is you get these boutique investors that are going and finding a link to China, you know, some person, some handler that they can go over there with and do business with. And then they scout out smaller businesses, you know, like over here, it could be a granite yard or just some warehouse producing something, maybe a dog food producer or something. They'll find these smaller businesses, they'll get a business plan together, but then they'll inflate the numbers and then they'll sell it over here as an investment overseas. So then you have people over here putting their own money into these companies, these Chinese companies that have been inflated values. And because there's no real regulation on it, that's just how it goes. So you have these guys making the deals, making tons of fees on top of it. You have all these investors investing money into Chinese companies, and then you have these Chinese companies operating a way lower platform than what the money that is behind them says that they can run at. So this whole movie goes into this whole documentary goes into the entire system and how it's set up, and it's crazy because you're waiting for the entire documentary, like, oh, okay, when did this go south? Like, okay, you know, you made this movie about it, so the end result is obviously everything changed, and you know, we're just telling you about it now. But then the movie ends and it's like, oh yeah, you can still totally do this. Like it is completely a thing still. And you're just left with this idea like, oh shit, I bet there's thousands of people making these bad investments over in Chinese industries. And then China is getting all this money, buying US Treasury bonds, building up debt with us, and now we're going to throw tariffs on them. It's pretty fucking crazy. So yeah. But that's all I got for today, guys. Thanks for listening to me. Just talk about some of the cool stuff I've been to. Next week, I'm going to have a guest on. Don't know who yet, but we'll figure it out and it'll be fun. See you later.